Okay, so if you're a sales leader, a hiring manager, or an executive,
Hmm.
really, if you're looking at accelerating your revenue for the coming year, we need to have a very serious conversation.
We do.
We need to talk about the first 90 days of every single new sales hire, because the data we've pulled specifically from the research compiled by the sales experts, it presents this, this brutal truth.
A truth that costs companies millions.
Millions. It's that most sales teams fail their new hires in the first 90 days. And here's the kicker. It's not because you hired the wrong person.
No, not at all.
The failure is almost always internal. It's the onboarding process itself that's just weak. It's
Right.
vague and it's unstructured.
That statistic is, it's terrifying when you actually calculate the true cost. You've got acquisition, training time, the salary burned, and, the biggest one of all, the lost pipeline opportunity.
Zero pipeline. Yeah.
The sources are just relentless on this point. Time lost in those first 3 months is mathematically proportional to confidence lost and pipeline lost later on. You just lose all that momentum.
And those little hiring regrets start creeping in.
Exactly.
Absolutely. The cost of a bad ramp-up isn't just a deferred start. It is future revenue that you are just not going to see. So our mission today is to cut through all of that noise.
Right.
We want to deliver the exact blueprint drawn from what high-performing sales organizations do that guarantees immediate sales success.
Yeah.
This deep dive is your shortcut.
And that shortcut, that transformation, it actually begins before the rep even accepts the offer. It starts with our first insight, removing guesswork and friction through extreme pre-launch preparation.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
So this first segment is all about the preparation phase. When a new hire walks in, whether they're a seasoned vet or just starting out, the single biggest drain on their energy is friction.
Total friction.
They spend the first 2 weeks just figuring things out, who to talk to, where the files are. And that cognitive load, the data shows, it just dramatically slows down their ramp time.
And you have to remove that friction immediately. Think about the psychology of it. A successful sales rep, they thrive on control, on clarity.
Of course.
So if they show up and the first thing they hit is a bureaucratic roadblock, you've basically just signaled that your entire organization is inefficient. You've eroded their confidence before they've even made a single call.
So how do we fix this? The source says we need to provide, as you said, extreme clarity. You give them a short, digestible plan.
This is where so many companies fail on a tactical level. It sounds so simple, but you have to define success with absolute precision. On day one, that new hire needs to know, without any exception,
Not specifically.
who are they supposed to call, what exact products are they leading with, how are you measuring success, not in some vague terms, but in concrete activity and outcome metrics, and critically, how fast do they need to move.
And here's the golden nugget from the sales experts' research on this.
Yeah.
You have to resist the urge to just drown them in document.
Oh, that's the classic mistake.
Right. Instead, you share only the top 3 priorities for that first month. Anything beyond those 3 core objectives is it's noise. It's a distraction.
It's a total drain. If you hand them a 100-page product manual, what are they going to do? They'll spend 30 days reading it and 0 days selling.
Exactly.
But if you give them 3 targets that actually move the needle, like complete this 1 certification, identify 50 target accounts, and send your first 100 outbound messages, they get focused.
And that focus is enabled by the next piece, which is having their tools ready before they even start.
Yes.
I see this mistake everywhere. Sales leaders lose so much time, and all that initial enthusiasm from the hire just evaporates while they're waiting for IT to set up their access.
And you can quantify this. The source shared some internal data suggesting that every single day a new hire spends waiting for a CRM login. It costs the company a specific dollar amount in lost pipeline opportunity that quarter.
Wow.
It's a cost that just builds and builds into a deficit.
So we need that checklist.
Yeah.
What are the non-negotiables that have to be working before day one?
Everything. Everything related to enablement and execution. I'm talking about the basics that somehow always get missed.
Like the laptop.
The laptop, tested and configured. All the access credentials, CRM, email, they have to be working flawlessly. And crucially, they need the pre-built sequences and outreach campaigns ready to go.
So not just blank templates.
No, not boilerplate emails. These are the proven high-conversion templates that take the cognitive load of creative writing off a new hire. They also need product knowledge they can actually search, their territory list, customer stories, and, this is key, a call script that actually works.
A proven one.
Proven by your top performers. The goal is just beautifully simple. The hire should be selling on day one, not waiting.
If a rep spends their first week sending help desk tickets, you haven't just lost a wick. You've wasted the most critical period of momentum they have.
You have.
And that preparation gets us to the starting line, which I think leads perfectly into our second insight.
Yes. We've fixed the physical setup, but now we have to talk about what we actually teach them. And this is where most onboarding programs just fail spectacularly. This brings us to the customer-centric phase.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me, because the classic mistake is focusing on product features. We get so obsessed with our own tech, our own processes.
We force them to memorize internal minutia that customers don't care about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the senior level customers you want them talking to, they don't buy features. They buy outcomes. They buy solutions to massive, urgent problems.
So the onboarding focus has to shift 180 degrees. If your new hire can explain your product, but they can't explain why a customer should lose sleep over the problem it solves, they are going to fail.
So what's on the curriculum? What must they be taught?
They need to understand, really deeply understand why customers actually buy from you, which specific quantifiable problems matter most. What are the high-stakes objections that always block deals?
And the proof, right?
And the proof. They need to be fluent in the case studies that prove the ROI of your solution. And this has to be real-world education.
What do you mean by that?
The best practice, the source highlights, is moving away from, these theoretical training manuals. Get into recorded real examples. Stop reading presentations. Use recordings of actual successful sales calls.
I love that idea of immersion. Use recorded calls from your top performers. Analyze them. Why did the buyer engage? How did the top rep handle that pricing objection?
Right.
If you're a founder-led sales team, record your own calls and let them study that founder DNA. That's true immersion.
And that practical knowledge has to immediately connect to confidence, which brings us to early customer exposure. Now, let me challenge you on a point the sources make here.
Okay.
Managers often feel this urge to hide new hires, right? Give them 4 weeks of internal training first. Isn't putting a brand new hire in front of a potential client by week 2? Isn't that just too risky?
That is the essential leadership question, and the sources challenge that protective instinct directly. They argue that waiting stalls confidence, and it just severely delays pipelines. So yes, there's a risk.
But the risk of delay is higher.
The risk of delay is mathematically higher than the risk of an awkward call. The structure for early exposure, it has to be strategic, not reckless.
So what does that look like?
The schedule should be aggressive. Have them send tailored outbound messages by the end of week 1. And by week 2, they should be leading small, defined sections of a call, probably co-selling with a manager or a mentor.
That's a critical distinction. They aren't running the call solo.
No,
they're leading the 5-minute section on the pain points we solve. They learn faster because the stakes are real. They internalize the messaging. They handle that unexpected question the training manual didn't cover.
They feel the pressure of the live environment.
Right. And the rationale here is just pure applied neuroscience.
Right.
You are forcing faster growth because you're building muscle memory under fire. The sources suggest reps exposed early ramp 25% faster.
A 25% faster ramp is a massive ROI. But that real-time execution, it demands consistency. Which brings us to our third and final segment, the accountability phase. You need a system.
Precisely. You need a system so that early momentum doesn't just fade away into bad habits. And that starts with the 30, 60, 90-day plan.
Which should not be an HR checklist.
No, it has to be the sales leader's blueprint for accountability and for intervention.
Okay, so let's define those checkpoints. By 30 days, the focus is foundational, right? The rep completes all core training, builds their target account list, and starts prospecting.
And they run their first handful of discovery calls. It's the maximum effort ramp-up phase.
Then we move to the heavier lifting. At 60 days, we're looking for pipeline.
You're looking for evidence of it. They need to be presenting solutions, refining their messaging based on real feedback, and most importantly, showing signs of consistency. Repeatable action, not one-offs.
And the final marker, the 90-day benchmark, has to be about predictable performance.
Oh.
So they've closed some early wins. They're demonstrating full activity levels without being prompted.
They own the territory, mentally and strategically. And they are hitting predictable metrics that show they're on the path to quota. And you, as a leader, have to define what success at 90 days looks like. Not just, we hope they closed something.
But something like, they have generated 3 opportunities worth X.
Exactly.
And that consistency depends completely on intense weekly coaching. The source really emphasizes this, even for senior hires.
Yes, even for veterans. You hire a top performer, they bring their own habits, some good, some bad. You have to stop the bad habits immediately before they get entrenched.
So what do those weekly sessions look like?
They can't be passive check-ins. They need to be rigorous coaching clinics. You're doing call reviews, listening to recordings and dissecting them, deal strategy, pipeline health, activity consistency, and message clarity. If the messaging is off, everything else breaks down.
And speaking of clarity, this is where executives fall into a trap. The sources stress this mistake of only tracking revenue. That's a lagging indicator.
It is. If you wait 90 days to see revenue and it's not there, it's already too late. You need to focus on the leading indicators that signal success long before the money appears.
A leading indicator is what exactly? A forward-facing signal.
It's a forward-facing signal of intent, yeah. It's an activity metric that has a predictable conversion rate to pipeline. You're tracking the inputs that guarantee future results.
So what data points should managers be tracking every single week?
Outbound activity for sure, but specifically the conversation rates, the quality of those interactions, not just the number of dials, how many discovery calls were held, how many qualified proposals went out. These signals tell you if the hire is on track or if they need immediate surgical intervention.
And that intervention sometimes isn't on the rep, it's on the organization. A leader has to remove blockers.
It is their absolute duty. New hires always hit bottlenecks, unclear pricing, internal delays.
Messy process.
All of it. And it's the executive's job to clear that path. The source suggests a really simple weekly check-in. Ask them, pointedly, what slowed you down this week? What information did you need that wasn't there? And then you fix it, ruthlessly.
Clearing the path is a form of cultural modeling. It shows the organization respects their time.
And finally, that momentum is held up by setting completely clear expectations. Vague expectations just lead to excuses. If you want high performance, you have to define it quantitatively.
So examples for the source would be things like, you need to generate 6 new qualified opportunities a week.
Or your pipeline must grow by X dollars per month, or hitting a minimum number of discovery calls. It's direct, it's measurable, and it removes any misunderstanding. You're giving them a clear path to winning.
That was an incredibly deep dive. Let's just quickly summarize the 3 pillars for sales leaders to get that immediate sales success.
Let's do it.
Okay, 1, prepare completely before day 1. Remove all the guesswork, get all the tools working, and limit their focus to just the top 3 priorities for that first month.
2, teach outcomes and push for immediate customer exposure. Stop wasting time on features. Focus training on why customers buy, and then get them in front of real customers, co-selling by week 2 to build that muscle memory.
And 3, implement a tight coaching and metric system. Use the 30, 60, 90-day plan for accountability, coach them weekly to stop bad habits, and crucially, measure the leading indicators, not just the lagging ones.
The data from the sales experts is just conclusive on this. Your next hire can absolutely transform your revenue this year, but only if you, the leader, set them up properly from the start.
So our final provocative thought for you to think about is this: optimizing the 90-day onboarding. It isn't just a process improvement, it's a fundamental cultural shift. So how much faster could your team hit quota if every single person started with the kind of confidence and clarity that a structured, friction-free 90-day plan provides?
Because structure breeds confidence, and confidence is the ultimate driver of sustained activity and real sales success.
If you're a sales leader or an executive looking to dive even deeper into these strategies, you can explore the full insights and research over at thesalesexperts.com. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.